If you had asked me a year ago what I thought of my son-in-law, I would have told you he was one of the best men I had ever known. His name is Tyler Bennett, and he married my daughter, Megan, about 3 years ago. From the moment he entered our lives, he came off as respectful, kind, and reliable. Megan had always been a strong-willed and independent woman, but when she met Tyler, I saw her soften. He brought her joy, laughter, and stability. And as her father, that meant everything to me. Tyler worked in finance. He wasn't flashy about it, but he had a good job and he treated Megan like a queen, or so we all thought. Megan worked part-time at a local bookstore while finishing up her master's degree in education. They lived in a nice little 2-bedroom apartment just outside of town, close enough that they would visit us every other weekend. I'd grill burgers, my wife Linda would make potato salad, and we'd all sit outside on the patio talking and laughing like families are supposed to do. One Friday night, they came over for dinner. Everything seemed completely normal. Tyler even helped me fix the squeaky hinge on the back door and talked about possibly buying a house the next year. During dinner, Tyler mentioned he was planning a night out the next day with some of his old college buddies. He said they were going to watch a game, grab a few beers, and just unwind like the old days. Megan didn't seem worried at all. She smiled and told him to have fun. That Saturday night, Megan decided to spend the evening at our place while Tyler was out. She brought a bottle of wine and a couple of her favorite movies, and we ended up staying up late watching them together. Around 11 p.m., I noticed Megan was glancing at her phone more than usual. I didn't want to intrude, but I could tell she was expecting a message or a call. Around midnight, she finally spoke. "Dad, Tyler hasn't texted me since around 5. He said he'd keep me posted," she said, trying to sound casual, but I could hear the concern in her voice. I told her not to worry. Guys tend to get caught up when they're out with friends. Maybe they were in a loud bar, or maybe he left his phone in the car. We both tried to brush it off, but by 1:30 a.m., Megan was clearly anxious. She texted him again. No reply. She called. It went to voicemail. At 2:10 a.m., her phone finally rang. She rushed to the front porch to answer it. I stayed inside, pretending not to listen, but I could hear her voice getting louder. There were pauses, gasps, and one sharp, "What?" followed by silence. She came back inside a few minutes later, pale as a ghost. Her hands were shaking. "He was in a car accident," she said. "He's okay, but he wasn't alone." My heart sank. Megan sat down on the couch and took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. Tyler had crashed his car into a guardrail on a highway just outside of town. Thankfully, he hadn't been seriously hurt. The police had found him intoxicated and clearly under the influence of alcohol. But the most shocking part was that he wasn't alone in the car. There was a woman with him. A woman Megan didn't know. The police had called Megan because her number was listed as his emergency contact. She was told the woman had also been taken to the hospital for evaluation, but she refused to give her name at first. Megan didn't sleep that night. None of us did. The next morning, she drove to the hospital to see Tyler. I offered to go with her, but she wanted to handle it on her own. When she got there, she didn't just find Tyler in a hospital bed. She found the woman who had been in the car with him, sitting outside his room. Her name was Lauren Davis. And she wasn't a stranger. Megan recognized her immediately. Lauren was Tyler's coworker. They had all met at a holiday party the previous year. Megan remembered shaking Lauren's hand, complimenting her dress, even sharing a few laughs. She never once suspected anything inappropriate. In fact, she remembered Tyler mentioning Lauren from time to time, but it always seemed harmless. Office talk. Nothing more. When Megan confronted Tyler, he broke down. He admitted to everything. He and Lauren had been having an affair for the past few months. It started as after-work drinks, then turned into long business dinners, and eventually weekend meetups when Megan thought he was working late or out with friends. That night was supposed to be one of those secret rendezvous. They had been drinking, he insisted on driving, and the crash happened. Megan didn't say a word when she told me this. She just handed me her wedding ring and said, "I can't go back." As a father, watching your daughter go through that kind of betrayal is gut-wrenching. You raise your child hoping they find someone who will protect their heart, not shatter it. I wanted to confront Tyler myself. I wanted to scream at him, demand to know how he could do something like that to Megan, to our family. But I didn't. Megan asked me not to. She said she needed to handle it her way. Over the next few weeks, Tyler tried everything. He sent flowers, left voicemails, begged for forgiveness. He even wrote a handwritten letter saying he didn't mean for things to go that far, that he had been feeling stuck and overwhelmed, that Lauren was a mistake. Megan didn't reply. She moved back into her house for a while and began the process of filing for divorce. She quit her job at the bookstore and found a teaching position at a nearby school. She focused on her work, her friends, her future. Not once did she entertain the idea of taking Tyler back. The divorce was finalized 6 months later. No drama, no drawn-out court battles. Just paperwork and silence. Megan walked away with nothing but her name and her pride. It's been almost a year now. Megan is thriving. She's teaching full-time, volunteering on weekends, and she recently adopted a rescue dog named Riley. She's smiling again, laughing again, living again. As for Tyler, I only heard from him once after everything ended. He called me one evening, probably after a few drinks, and said he was sorry. Not just for what he did to Megan, but for how he let everyone down. I told him that apologies don't change the past, and that Megan will be fine, not because of him, but in spite of him. I hung up the phone after that, and I haven't heard from him since. Sometimes people ask me if I ever saw it coming. The truth is, I didn't. Tyler was good at hiding things, good at pretending. But looking back, there were small signs. Nights when he seemed distracted, moments when Megan looked worried but brushed it off. We all want to believe the best in the people we love. Sometimes that hope blinds us to the truth. What happened during my son-in-law's night out changed everything. It shattered trust, ended a marriage, and forced my daughter to rebuild her life from the ground up. But it also revealed her strength, her resilience, her ability to walk away from someone who didn't deserve her. And as her father, that's what I hold on to. Because even in heartbreak, Megan rose. And that, to me, is the most powerful part of all.